Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
A fire at an air traffic control tower disrupts flights across the United States, including right here in Lexington.
It's a disturbing case. We're tracking the search for the robber who tied up a couple during a home invasion.
$20 tickets have just about filled Commonwealth Stadium for tomorrow's game against Vandy.
WKYT News at 5 starts now.
Travelers here in Kentucky felt the effects of a fire more than 400 miles away today.
This caused some real problems. Investigators say an employee had set fire to an air traffic control tower west of Chicago. While the flames were put out pretty quickly, there was enough damage to cancel more than 1,000 flights to and from O'Hare and Midway airports. And some of those flights involved Bluegrass Airport. WKYT's Victor Puente has more on how travelers have been affected. It's our top story at 5.
Lexington wasn't hit quite as hard as some other airports. We've seen about half a dozen canceled flights. But for the people it is impacting, being stranded at Bluegrass Airport was the last thing they had planned for. Since a fire this morning shut down 2 Chicago airports, including O'Hare International, hundreds of flights across the country have been canceled. Cecilia Wong was one of the passengers stuck in Lexington. She's trying to get to Hong Kong, and she can't afford a delay.
I'm going to see my dying father.
She was supposed to fly to Chicago this morning, then take a 15-hour flight to China. But those plans have been pushed back. By switching airlines, she might be able to get to Chicago this evening, but won't be in Hong Kong for at least a day.
At the beginning, they gave me a 6 o'clock flight or something, but then I have to stay in the Chicago airport overnight. That's bad, too.
Yeah.
2 flights scheduled to come into Lexington in the next hour were also canceled, although 2 other flights coming in later this evening from Chicago are still scheduled to arrive. Airport officials tell me they may not know until tomorrow morning if any flights over the weekend will be affected. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And we have a link to the arrivals and departures from Bluegrass Airport on WKYT.com. We're tracking the search for 2 people who tied up and robbed a couple. That home invasion happened just before 5:30 this morning in the Middle Creek community of Floyd County. State police say a man knocked on the couple's door asking to use the phone. When they answered, we are told that the 2 men forced their way inside with a gun. Police say the pair stole money and an ATV before taking off. When the Wildcats play Vanderbilt this weekend, there will be plenty of fans in the stadium.
UK Athletics offered a special deal for fans to fill up the seats. As WKYT's Jerica Insko shows us, the plan was pretty successful.
It's an effort to fill Commonwealth Stadium for the first time since 2010, and selling $20 tickets to tomorrow's game has just about accomplished that goal. 62,000 seats in this stadium, and guess how many are already full for the UK Vandy game?
Can I just get one student ticket for tomorrow?
Okay.
More than 50,000.
I think it'll be a really good crowd. We're hoping to get stadium near sold out.
Many people, even fans, are wondering where all the hype is coming from. And well, you can thank the UK-Florida game for that, going into triple overtime.
We haven't sold out in a while, but we're sure we're going to have the biggest crowd of the season so far tomorrow. Fans are very excited about the progress the team is making, and so we want to try to make it available to as many fans as we can.
Thank you. Those $20 general admission tickets, actually all general admission, sold out quickly. Now only season ticket holders can get their hands on $20 tickets, but don't fret.
Several thousand tickets remaining, so we've got plenty of opportunity for fans to come and got some good seat locations in the stadium.
You can easily buy tickets by calling the ticket office or getting online. Also, starting at 9 a.m. on game day, you can buy reserved tickets for $50 each here at Commonwealth Stadium. Jerica Insko, WKYT.
Season ticket holders can get those $20 tickets for family and friends by using the hashtag BeatVU. We have a link to where you can buy tickets. Just go to WKYT.com.
Eastern Kentucky University issued an alert after a robbery on campus. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Richmond. The victim told campus police a man began talking to him and a friend while they were near Sullivan Hall. After a few minutes, a second man walked up, pulled out a gun, and demanded money. The pair stole cash from the victim and took off. The crime happened Sunday, but campus officials say the victim didn't report it until today. In Pulaski County, it's been several months since the city of Somerset began selling gasoline to the public. Mayor Eddie Girdler says the idea was to increase competition and bring prices down. He tells us he thinks it's working so far. Today, for example, the city-owned gas station is selling gas for $3.25. Other places in town have it for $3.39.
A lot of people don't realize that it's helped small businesses tremendously, because every dime you can put in small business pocket in terms of not having to pay for gasoline and also to the regular consumer. Every person that we've talked to over the last 2 months, their sales have increased and their profitability has increased because of the fact, 70% of our economy is driven by consumers.
The mayor says he thinks many gas companies increased their prices because of several festivals in the area this weekend. He says the Somerset station chose to keep its prices steady. In Warren County, police have released a new picture of a fugitive they describe as armed and dangerous. State police say this man is wanted for a murder in Pennsylvania. He is not the man suspected in an ambush of 2 Pennsylvania state troopers. Police spotted him early yesterday morning. They have not seen him since.
2 ginseng hunters made an unexpected find. The 2 found a human skull while in the woods near Cumberland Gap National Park on the Kentucky-Tennessee line. The hunters say it was a pretty unsettling discovery.
Don't really know what to think. Only thing that goes through your mind is you need to get out of there.
The National Park Service and authorities from Kentucky and Tennessee are helping look for more remains. The University of Tennessee will help identify them. Well, the great weather we've been having this week will follow us into the weekend.
But there could be some changes coming in the next few days. We're going to check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey, who's keeping tabs on that with the forecast. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Yeah, a little change is showing up right now because, we've basically been through the past 4 or 5 days without very much in the way of clouds. Starting to see a little bit on our live sky cam that is aimed toward Hamburg Pavilion. We're looking toward the south. That's the direction the clouds are beginning to filter in from. They're not going to produce precipitation, so let's not worry about that, high school football fans. As we file into stadiums throughout central and eastern Kentucky, a mild kickoff around 75, 76 degrees still at that time. Upper 60s and low 70s will show up as we go into the second half. Overall, a great evening for football. Looking on that southern horizon with our sky cam and now Defender picking up on the clouds lifting to the north. But again, it is dry across the entire region. Though bigger changes begin to show up as we go into late weekend, tracking the chances for at least a little shower action. I'll show you who has the best chance for weekend rain when I come back in just a matter of minutes.
More countries are joining the fight against ISIS. Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Britain are supporting the mission. American and allied warplanes attacked 10 more ISIS targets in Iraq and Syria today. U.S. officials say they have not received reports of civilian casualties, and they can't confirm if any terror leaders were killed. New details today about a man accused of ambushing 2 Pennsylvania state police troopers. Police say that Eric Freen spent several years planning the attack. They say a search of his computer found he did internet research on avoiding manhunts, law enforcement technology, and survival skills. Freen has been on the run for 2 weeks now. Police think he's hiding in the woods near his parents' home. A man accused in a college student's disappearance is on his way from Texas to Virginia to face those charges.
And while someone is now in custody in the Hannah Graham case, police still haven't found her. Craig Boswell is tracking the search from Charlottesville, Virginia.
Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. has now been moved from his holding facility in Texas, turned over to Virginia authorities for his return. He will soon face charges in the disappearance of 18-year-old Hannah Graham.
Yes, it's like a dark cloud.
Brees Cunningham owns the Tempo restaurant where witnesses saw Matthew and Graham together. Cunningham says Matthew had to hold her up as they walked away. She hasn't been seen since.
It was the first time I saw Mr. Matthews, and that's probably why I noticed him that night.
Charlottesville police are now expanding the search for Graham, pushing out into rural areas outside of town.
Where did he go fishing? Was there a particular pond, a particular farm, a particular location?
And while they acknowledge that hope of finding her alive dwindles with every passing day, they say they can't give up.
I can't lose hope until I have to.
Investigators are also looking into the disappearance of 5 other women to try and determine if the evidence in those cases connects back to Matthew in any way. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Charlottesville, Virginia.
Matthew will make his first court appearance in Virginia next week. A Lexington school is cooking up a big event this weekend, how they'll honor women chefs and fresh food.
It's a test researchers say could one day lead them to earlier diagnosis of autism, what doctors are looking at in Better Living.
Back to court for a former firefighter accused in a hit-and-run crash. The new details that came out during the hearing on WKYT News at 5:30.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey and First Alert Defender.
Plenty of sun over the past several days, and all of a sudden you get a little cloud cover out there, and a lot of folks are thinking, what is this all about? Huh? All right, we can't keep just going day after day after day without something to talk about. Hey, speaking of something to talk about, it's the Daily Breakdown. Warm start to that weekend, and I do have some shower chances arriving by the end of the weekend and early next week. And speaking of next week, I have some fairly decent changes that'll show up by the end of the week. Here's live First Alert Defender on our Friday evening. We're after 5 o'clock now, so it's officially your weekend. Get out and enjoy what is left of your Friday. There are the clouds we're seeing across southern Kentucky, not producing precipitation. Those are ice crystal clouds, and you'll see more of those over the next 24 hours. Could be a touch of some fog in the morning at 57 degrees. That's how you start your Saturday. You'll end your Saturday with upper 70s to low 80s. Looks very similar to what we have out there this afternoon. It's going to feel very similar as well. Though by the time we roll into Sunday on your weekend planner breakdown, it could be a shower or two around second half of the day, especially southern and eastern Kentucky, as temperatures come back a little bit because of a little more in the way of cloud cover. So breaking down the rain chances that I'm seeing from Sunday into Monday, it's at least a chance for a few showers into parts of central Kentucky. Greater risk will be the farther south and southeast that we go. Those are areas that could get in on a couple of hours of rain at some point Sunday night into Monday. Now, with a system like this, the models aren't doing a very good job in pinpointing exactly where it is going to go, so we'll update this map as we go through tonight, then with Mike tomorrow morning and Jim tomorrow night. Hour by hour forecast through Saturday. This is how we start the day. Mix of sun and some clouds. We go through the day. It's a mix of sun and some clouds. It is warm. Now, by tomorrow evening into early Sunday, some of the models have tried to spit out a little spotty shower into southern Kentucky. A lot of that juice, though, will come as we go into Sunday evening with that area of low pressure that is diving, or should say working from the lower Mississippi Valley toward parts of the Carolinas. Updating that Sunday, Monday forecast is going to be the focus as we go through the evening. 57 for an overnight low, a little touch of fog out there. Hello Saturday, 81 degrees, a very warm high, though if you have a little thicker overcast where you live, you're going to have to settle for 78 or 79 degrees. That's a pretty good little bit of a quandary to have tomorrow. 77 with a shower. Possible Sunday. A lot of dry times out there. A little better shot for a shower as we go into Monday. We'll breeze it up, may wind it up middle and into next week, pushing 80 degrees by Wednesday. That is a big fall cold front that I'm already tracking from a week away that I think arrives by the time we hit next Friday or Saturday to really knock those temperatures down that may bring a few shower and thunderstorms for that opening day of the fall meet at Keeneland. A lot can change in a week, obviously, but that's a pretty good indication from a week away.
And we'll need sunscreen at Commonwealth Stadium
I think
tomorrow.
That is the case. That's how it's been each home game so far. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Collision at New Circle and Russell Cave is blocking one lane on the outer loop, and on the inner loop of New Circle in that same area at North Broadway, a stalled car has the right lane backed up, and traffic is slow approaching that. The left lane is open on the inner loop of the New Circle at the North Broadway. Todd's and Hayes Boulevard, firefighters on the scene of a vehicle fire there near the intersection. Now back in the studio.
Thank you, Don. To become a WKYT Live driver and download the Waze app, go to WKYT.com. Under the News tab, click on Traffic for more information. Wedding bells will ring this weekend for Kentucky native George Clooney.
How his hometown is celebrating from afar, next.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at the most viewed stories on our website. People want to know more about a family's request for prayers, a drug roundup in Estill County, and our health alert about migraine relief. You can find these stories and more on WKYT.com.
Firefighters have better control of one of California's largest wildfires. The King Fire, burning east of Sacramento, is now 68% contained. The fire destroyed a dozen homes. About 290 buildings, though, remain in its path. Firefighters say they have charged a man with setting the fire. An update to a strange story that we told you about last night here at 11. An abandoned truck full of once frozen chicken has been moved. The truck's driver left it at a Montana truck stop 4 days ago after his company refused to give him more money for it. It's been taken to a landfill, the truck has, where a hole has been dug to bury it. The truck driver is still on the run.
Police in northern Kentucky continue to search for a burglary suspect. The police department posted these surveillance photos to Facebook of the break-ins that happened in Erlanger at the plaza on Dixie Highway. All of the photos are of the same person. Police say several businesses were broken into. Corvette shipments from Kentucky have started again. GM halted the deliveries earlier this month to fix a problem with the airbags. Another 800 were held at dealerships because of a parking brake cable. The company says both issues have been fixed. A Lexington middle school will host a special brunch this weekend.
The meal will showcase female chefs and food grown by the students. Our Mike Linden went to the Montessori Middle School of Kentucky to show us how the children are getting ready. That story is new at 5.
This Sunday, the Montessori Middle School of Kentucky is hosting a brunch using ingredients prepared by 7th and 8th grade students. The students have not only provided some of the farm-to-table ingredients, but are also preparing pumpkin rolls to be served for dessert.
These kids do so much, and they do have a cooking elective here at this school. And it's important for their future, for their taking care of themselves. Responsibility is a huge part in the Montessori education, and this helps out with that.
This is raspberries right here.
Zach Brown is the produce manager for the cooking class. His job is to plant, tend to, and harvest the produce being used for the brunch this weekend.
All of Lexington gets to come and participate in it. And I think it's pretty cool that I can say, hey, I harvested that and it's in that food that you're eating. I cooked it, you're eating it. So I think that's pretty cool that I'm able to say that. Not many people are able to say that.
When it comes to farm to table, the farm isn't very far away from the table here at the Montessori Middle School of Kentucky because students are elected to be the chicken managers to take care of chickens inside the chicken coop here that will provide the eggs for the brunch on Sunday.
It's good to know that their eggs will be enjoyed by a lot of people and that all the hard work to get them laying finally is going to pay off.
Reservations are required to attend the brunch. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
And if you'd like to reserve a spot for the Sunday brunch, look for this story on WKYT.com. Kentucky native George Clooney is getting married finally this weekend in Italy. Now, while the big event will happen thousands of miles away, his hometown of Augusta, Kentucky is making plans to celebrate with him. The Augusta Irish Pub will hold a special toast to the couple at 6 o'clock tonight. While most of the Clooneys are in Venice, there will be one family member at the pub tonight. The Ledger Independent reports that Nick and Nina Clooney's dog, Gravy, will attend. And that's George's parents, Nick and Nina. Good people. Breaking ground on a project that will bring hundreds of jobs to southern Kentucky. We'll tell you what the new building will house on WKYT News at 5:30.
A test could one day lead to earlier diagnosis of autism. Plus, the reason more people are cutting the cord on their cable. Those stories and more next in Better Living. It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. It's a study doctors hope will one day lead to earlier diagnosis of autism. Researchers have been looking at the brainwaves of 43 children with autism, ranging in age from 6 to 17. They're measuring how quickly their brains respond to sights and sounds. Doctors say early diagnosis can make all the difference, and parents agree.
Even with the help that Cuba got, if I didn't do the early intervention, I don't think he would be at the level he is right now.
Doctors also hope the study will help them more accurately pinpoint where a child falls on the autism spectrum. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says more pregnant women should get a vaccine known as Tdap in order to protect their babies. Tdap protects against tetanus, diphtheria, and whooping cough. A new study shows only 14% of expectant mothers on Medicaid have been vaccinated. More and more Americans are cutting the cord on cable and satellite. As Begad Shaban shows us, more options for home entertainment are making it easier to go without.
Tenley Breen catches up with her favorite TV shows on her tablet.
All I really want is a chance. Bye.
The 25-year-old is one of a growing number of consumers who get their entertainment from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, not from cable or satellite.
He's my favorite character.
Breen and her roommate Elan Kwan don't even own a TV.
No point, really. No.
A new report from the media analyst firm Magid Associates finds the number of people who plan to cut their cable connection is growing from 2.2% in 2012 to 2.9% this year.
When you're talking about mass media, small numbers add up to mass numbers of people and mass dollars.
Do you like How I Met Your Mother?
Breen and Kwan say they don't miss cable.
It's not like there's anything on TV that I can't find on the internet anyway.
One big exception is live sports programming.
The least likely group to cord cut are active viewers of ESPN.
Cable and satellite companies are trying to hold on to customers with cheaper prices, original programming, and extra premium channels and services that allow customers to get their shows on phones, computers, and tablets. But analysts say that may not be enough to stop a steady stream of viewers from cutting the cord in the future. Begad Shaban, CBS News, Los Angeles.
For more health, education, and consumer news, go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living. Now here's what's coming up at 5:30.